Heya, cryptozens. Tonight's stories. Binance US and Blockchain Association break up. Powell considers 50 basis point hike. TRX announces stablecoin. NBA Fouls NFT Launch. It's 10 p.m. Pacific time. The date is April 21st, 2022. Welcome back to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm your host, Nick. The cover model for this podcast is Tex, and together we take a nightly look at the crypto, NFT, and metaverse space and the industry that surrounds it. We're here to bring you the crypto news analysis you need to start your day. And keep in mind, nothing in this show should ever be considered financial advice. Binance US broke up with the lobbyist group Blockchain Association, and it doesn't seem to be an amicable split. Now, frankly, both sides have been tight-lipped about the situation. Binance US, an affiliate of the world's largest exchange, isn't feeling heard. A Binance spokesperson said, quote, "We believe it's time we had a clear voice with meaningful impact in the emerging policy debates around digital assets and cryptocurrencies in Washington. We are excited to establish our own government affairs team in D.C. to actively engage in direct and constructive dialogue with U.S. policymakers on smart regulation that increases clarity and trust while allowing American innovation and leadership to flourish in crypto," which is a lot of words. So, in August of 2020, Binance US joined the Blockchain Association. Coinbase, which was a founder, left soon after. A Blockchain Association spokesperson said, quote, "The Blockchain Association wishes Binance US the best of luck as they build out their operation in Washington. The Blockchain Association will continue to build on its strong track record in 2022 to advance the shared goals of the crypto ecosystem and ensure America remains at the forefront of technological innovation." Which I can see it. You know, if you're part of the world's largest crypto exchange, you want your own voice. You don't want to be lost in a sea. They've got like 80 members. You don't want to be lost in the sea of 80 other voices. So who wants to compete with 80 other parties? Nobody. Not if you don't have to. So while some people may see this as something negative, I think Binance is probably doing the right thing by themselves in this regard. Now, let's take a quick look at the markets, because they're not looking good right now, are they? What happened, you might ask? I think we're going to end up talking about that in the Powell story here in a second. So here are the numbers. At the time of writing, the global crypto market cap is $1.88 trillion, which is quite a drop from yesterday's $1.92 trillion. It's down 2.11 since yesterday. The top 5 cryptos by market cap are Bitcoin down 1.8%, Ethereum down 2.53%, Tether, Binance Coin down 3.23%, and USDC. The global NFT market cap is up over $10.39 billion, which is a nice jump. According to CoinMarketCap, the top 5 NFT collections by sales volume are Moonbirds, followed by Mutant Ape Yacht Club, then Stepan Asic's NFT sneakers, then Bored Apes, and finally CryptoPunks. Now, keep in mind, some of these collections have very volatile prices, so do your own research. Powell considers 50 basis point hike. Did you see the drop? So Bitcoin had been up to $42,965 per Bitcoin today, almost $43,000. Now, some of the altcoins did okay. TRX, we're going to be talking about them in a bit. The Graph, Luna, they all did pretty well. But Bitcoin just dumped down to the 40K range. So why? I would point the finger at Jerome Powell. So on Thursday, he was speaking at a panel about the global economy. And this panel was presented by the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And it was during this panel that Powell said raising the U.S. interest rate by 50 points, quote, will be on the table for the next FOMC meeting in May. FOMC is a Federal Open Market Committee. Has there ever been a stronger example that the U.S. government has failed to keep inflation in check? This inflation, which Jerome Powell told us was going to be transitory, hit 8.5%. That is the highest it's been in 40 years. Now, to give you an idea of how strong of an action this is, it's been rare for the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates by more than 25 basis points at a time. In fact, it was just in March that the FOMC members agreed to a hike of 25 points. Now, for his part, Powell said it would be appropriate to, quote, move a little more quickly. He said, it may be that the actual inflation peak was in March, but we don't know that. So we're not going to count on it. We're really going to be raising rates and getting expeditiously to levels that are more neutral and then that are actually tight, if that turns out to be appropriate once we get there. So it seems that's why he's pushing a 50 basis point hike this time around. He thinks that's what's needed to achieve price stability. He said, quote, it is absolutely essential to restore price stability. Economies don't work without price stability. And he's certainly right there. Price instability is a hallmark of absurd levels of inflation. If you study some of the economies that have actually been hit with hyperinflation, one of the biggest problems cited are the sweeping price changes. You never know what the price of anything was going to be until the second you were getting ready to buy it. These are expected to be Powell's last public comments before the May 3rd and 4th meeting of the FOMC. Along with raising rates, the Feds are going to slow down on their bond buying. They want to reduce the amount of bonds that they're holding. Currently, the Federal Reserve is holding close to $9 trillion in bonds. Most of these are treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. He concerned some folks with his remarks earlier in the day. He referenced former Fed Chairman Paul Volcker. Now, Volcker, he fought inflation in the late 70s and early 80s. And what he did was he used a series of rate hikes. Ultimately, this led to a recession as he took the benchmark rate to nearly 20%. Normally, it's between 0.25 and 0.5%. So that makes me wonder what he has in mind when he said this about Volcker. He said Volcker, quote, knew that in order to tame inflation and heal the economy, he had to stay the course. I'm not sure that what he did was heal the economy. I hope Powell isn't considering a recession as a good answer to high inflation. TRX announces stablecoin. TRX soared today on news that Tron's Justin Sun announced a new stablecoin. Sun called it the launch of the, quote, most decentralized stablecoin in human history. That sounds like a lot. Now, it seems like there are a lot of people who thought so as well. TRX jumped by more than 18% in the hours after Justin Sun's announcement. So here's what we know. It's going to be called USDD. It's going to be a Tron native stablecoin. Its plan is to achieve on-chain decentralization. And they're going to do this by cutting out the reliance on anyone else for redemption, management, and storage services. Sun put out an open letter, and in that letter he explained, quote, when USDD's price is lower than $1, users and arbitrageurs can send $1 to the system and receive $1 worth of TRX. When USDD's price is higher than $1, users and arbitrageurs can send $1 of TRX to the decentralized system and receive $1. So that's their plan. It's very much like the Luna Terra USD stablecoin situation. USDD and TRX will have a symbiotic relationship using algorithms that will keep USDD stable at $1. Now, Sun says that the USDD algorithm will keep the stablecoin pegged at the US dollar regardless of market conditions. And that's been a thing, right? Look at what happened with USN recently. They lost their peg due to market conditions. So, the late launch date on this thing is May 5th. And at that point, USDD will be active on the Tron network. It will also be available on the Ethereum and Binance blockchains using the BTTC cross-chain protocols. BTTC, or BitTorrent Chain, is a heterogeneous cross-chain interoperability protocol. It uses proof of stake for consensus and leverages sidechains for the scaling of smart contracts. Now, y'all know how I feel about cross-chain anything, especially in DeFi land. It's important, it's needed, and right now, it's horrible. Anytime you grow cross-chain anything, you end up opening up your door to hacks. Anyway, not everyone feels the same way, apparently. Tron spiked hard after the announcement. Went from a low of 6.3 cents per to a high of 7.5 cents. They're saying it could get as high as 8.8 cents or even a dime. In addition to the stablecoin, they also announced the Tron DAO, and that's the DAO that will be managing the stablecoin. Reportedly, it's going to start off life with a $10 billion piggy bank. Along with a 30% interest rate, Tron DAO is going to provide custody reserves, up to $10 billion in liquid assets, to serve as the collateral that backs USDD. Now, if you remember, Terraform Labs founder Do Kwon is going through this exact same plan for Terra USD. They're buying up $10 billion in Bitcoin to act as their reserves. Now, Kwon responded to the developments. He said, quote, "Decentralized economies deserve decentralized money." And he went on to say that it's his belief that every blockchain is going to end up going down this road. They're going to have their own variant of a similar stablecoin. Now, as far as what the assets for USDD will be, Sun did say that they would be, quote, "highly liquid assets raised from initiators of the blockchain industry." So he's not going out and buying up Bitcoin. Now, as far as why and now, Sun said that it was the expansion of Tether and their success on the Tron network that showed that there was a need for a stablecoin. Now, his thought is that USDD could be that stablecoin. On the other hand, some people were using Tether on that network specifically to exploit arbitrage opportunities while keeping their transaction fees low. So there might actually be a need on the Tron network, or it could be that it's only attractive when using Tether to exploit an advantage. NBA Fouls NFT Launch. BlockSec called the technical foul. They revealed a huge vulnerability. You see, there's an issue with NBA's latest NFT collection, and this vulnerability allows attackers to mint large numbers of these NFTs without spending any tokens. So that's why the NBA put all minting of its new collection on hold. Now, this new collection is called the Association, and it has a serious bug in the contract. This comes less than a day after they started allowing users to mint NFTs. And they found a problem with the smart contract. It triggered the allow less to sell out prematurely. So it was that the blockchain security firm BlockSec pointed out a serious vulnerability. Like I said, it allowed people to mint large numbers of these NFTs without paying for them at all. Apparently, the problem is the misuse, the misapplication of signature verification. So what this means is that the smart contract, fails to check the signature. One, it doesn't check to make sure that the signature belongs to the person who is using it and that it's being used by the authorized user, and that the signature is only used once. So this bug is brutal. What it does is it lets an attacker reuse a privileged user's signature, and then they use that to mint NFTs to themselves. I had a bit of a chuckle when I read the company's response. They said, quote, "We're surprised at how such a vulnerability can exist in a popular NFT project. The whole community needs to pay more attention to the security of the contract." No kidding. So the attacker, he was able to mint 100 NFTs, and then they sold them on OpenSea, as you do. And it's too bad because it seems like it's a cool project. This project, the Association, has 18,000 tokens, and they represent all 240 of the players in this year's playoffs. The plan is to leverage Chainlink oracles, and what this will do is it will change the player's appearance dynamically based on their performance. So the better that player does during the year, the more visual changes will appear. This will change the NFT's look throughout postseason tournament. And I'm afraid that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed tonight's show, like, comment, subscribe. Give us a glowing review. The more I think about this Tron USDD thing, the more that I think that it's the way to go. So this lets them have a stablecoin, one that's native to their chain without all the risks that a cross-chain bridge brings. It's just smart. Do you have questions or comments? Reach out to us by email. The address is nick@cryptoovernighter.com. That's nick@cryptoovernighter.com. And check out my other podcast, Crypto in 5 Minutes. We have 41 educational podcasts. Each of them are 5 minutes to explain one concept in crypto. And as always, may peace reign.